Alright then, let's begin. The name doesn't matter, and today I want to present my Striker Tech Auth service that I've been building for the past couple months. So what is a Striker Tech Auth service? So STAS is meant to be a one-stop shop for all your authentication and authorization needs. So what have I built here? It's essentially an auth service that handles logins, registers, connecting to third-party applications, user management, access management, and most importantly, being able to swap between personal and enterprise accounts with ease. So let's keep the technologies for now. Why have I built it? In simple forms, I wanted to test my skills, build an auth service for any of my personal projects. I don't want to spend time implementing the same things over and over and over in every new web application. And I wanted to understand best practices that the industry has. So let's have a little bit of a demo to see what the project's all about. So this is the homepage. The homepage is currently completely useless. It's only here for you to take a look and just basically see the theme. There's nothing really special here, and the only usable thing here is the sign in button. The only thing that I do like, and this is going to be part of the entire project moving forward, is that at the bottom of this screen in the footer, there is a version number for the application. So currently it's version 0.06, and every time there's a git commit that is going to be pushed to main, this is going to increment by 0.01. I did this so that when I do future testing and future devlogs, I can see the change between versions, not only on this channel, but just for my own personal needs. So let's go in and let's see what this web app is about. So I press the sign in button. Usually you will not sign in immediately. There will be a personal or enterprise login. Both of these have their own register pages, and personal one is pretty simple. You have an account, you have some personal details, you have your contact details, and then you create an account, and it goes through this simple process that goes to your email where you verify it. Stuff that you've seen a million times. Nothing too interesting. Enterprise is a bit more in-depth, is that you have to you either create your own organization or you join one, and it's pretty much the same process outside of that you need to remember some kind of organization key. So let's get back and let's log into an account. So I'm gonna log into a temporary admin account. Let's go in here. And first things first is we have two-factor authentication enabled. So two-factor authentication is only enabled on accounts by choice. It's not in by default. You have to go in and set it up yourself. Simple stuff, nothing crazy so far. So let's do it real quick. And it's 6555389. We're in. So this is the main front end for the auth service. The auth service, in general, is meant to be mostly back end. So I will showcase you the front end. Then this is what admins will use and some personal users. However, the vast majority of users should be admins. Why? Regular people shouldn't be interacting with their authentication services unless they're interested. There is just most people are probably not interested in going in and managing their own account. How often do you go to your Google account and manage your settings, right? So there's a profile page. This is where it shows like your first name, your last name, your contact details. If you're an enterprise user, such as this super admin, then you'll also have organization details. You can edit this. Pretty simple stuff, nothing too crazy. Settings. This is where some more interesting features happen. So you can change the sidebar position, and you can also change the theme. So this is light mode now. We have a few dark themes and a few light themes. I didn't want to put too many in. I just wanted to have a general theme. And being able to switch between themes allows you to control your CSS contracts better, because you can test it under different conditions. There's also a two-factor authentication system. Currently it's enabled. We can disable it if we want to. And if we disabled it, we can re-enable it again quite simply by doing the QR code. Obviously, right now, one of you guys can scan this QR code and potentially be part of my app. However, that will not work because I'm not going to enter your key. So then there's app connections. So this is probably the most important part of the app that requires the most testing and requires additional to be connected to work. Basically, what I want this to be is that some user, whether it's me, my friends, or you, the viewer, builds an application and connects it to this auth service where you don't have to manage the login, the register, or any of that. You just plug it in and you have access to a fully fledged authentication system. You can link personal accounts here as well, so there will be connected organizations and connected accounts. Imagine this as your one-stop shop to all of your work and personal accounts. Well, why would you ever want that? Well, simply put, how many times have you had an Azure or an AWS account, or 2 or 3 or 4, and you just forget your password, and you don't want to be managing that? Well, what if we combine the enterprise side of AWS, GCP, and Azure, and we combine it with the consumer side of Gmail and Microsoft Outlook? So let me show you how it works. So if we press return to personal, it will switch to my personal account. And if I go to connections, it can show me all of the accounts that my personal account is connected to. I don't know if you remember previously, but but the account said enterprise before here, and it said Thomas Stryker, and it didn't say any of it had a different email, had different name, and different phone number. Right? So if we go back to connections, as you can see, I have multiple accounts connected. These accounts can be added as easily as logging in via this add link enterprise account button. This way, I can have one personal account that I create for my own personal use, for my own personal applications or other people's applications, with my personal data, but I can then switch to an enterprise account immediately. Now, one thing you should note is that the enterprise account didn't ask for MFA because we just disabled it. If we re-enabled MFA, which I can do right now, if we re-enable the MFA, what we can do is when we go back to our personal account and go back to this account, it will ask for my authenticator code. This way, even if your personal account is compromised, 2FA will not allow you to go through, adding to additional security. Right, so that's the connections part. Then there's the admin panel. So the admin panel can only be accessed via admin accounts. So these will be organization admin accounts, organization owners, and any other administrators within this application. So let's just do this one more time. And we have user management. So these are all the users in our organization. At the moment, it's not very complete. This is a work in progress, and this is probably the area where my application needs the most work, as I will show you later. But you can add a brand new account, create them account, they will get an email, they can verify their email, and they can access their enterprise account. There's also role management, which is you can create specific roles for users, and you can add them, similar to user management. But as you can see, the role itself doesn't do anything. It's pretty much just like a name description. And the reason for this is because I don't want to manage a role. Sorry, I'll say it differently. I want the auth service to not know what a role is supposed to do or a policy is supposed to do. So if an enterprise user creates a service account, let's say that does only deals with the database, he can create a database role, and he can just query, does this person have the database writer? It does, and then that user can then do his work. So that's the goal. There's also app connections, which is essentially the same thing as this connections, but this is just for applications. App users. So these are all of the users within the applications that this account manages. And app roles is again the same as role management, but this is for specifically application roles. Right? So this is the front end. That's what you can see. The back end, it's written in Fast API. Actually, I didn't even discuss. I don't think I discussed my tech stack. So the tech stack is Angular, Fast API, Postgres, Docker, Grafana, Redis Scalar. So Angular is used for the front end, which is here. Fast API is used for the back end, with Scalar as the self-documenting, how should I say, open API client, I guess. Postgres is the database. Docker is the tool I use to manage my services. Grafana is used for logging. Redis is mostly used for rate limiting and token revocation. And yeah, that's the technologies that we use. As you can see, the backend has quite a few API endpoints. This is still a work in progress. Yeah. So what can I improve with this project? So a lot of the things that need to happen include mostly front end. So resetting password, disabling password, downloading user data, stuff like this is currently not super easy, not super convenient. If a user would, these endpoints have been created, but they are not connected to the front end yet. There is no way for the user to communicate, to be communicated with on an enterprise or app level. So for example, I don't have a way to send out notifications or announcements, and that's why there could be a lot of miscommunication between the users of this app, both on an enterprise level and me as a developer. So it's something I need to implement. But that will probably require me to create another microservice, which is gonna most likely happen in the future. Testing currently is quite weak. I have quite a few unit tests for the backend, but they're not reaching everything I want them to, and I have no front end tests whatsoever, only because the front end changes quite regularly. And yeah, so what are my next steps for this application? I need to create a secret management tool because at the moment I'm storing most of my secrets in .env. Where is it? This is .env example. And yeah, this is kind of too much, and I kind of want a way to not have to manage this myself, so I don't have to create a .env for dev, .env for test, .env for prod, which I will in the future. So I need some kind of secrets management tool, so I could generate secrets, I can rotate secrets, and I can store secrets without ever hard coding them in a file such as this. Look, even my certificates are here. You can look at these certificates. It doesn't matter; they're gonna be changed anyway. Yeah. What else? Blob storage. At the moment, we don't deal with any file storage, but I would like to have pictures, for example, for your profile here. It would be really nice to see someone's picture. It would be nice to offer services for people who don't want to store image data, for example, or video data. It would be nice to be able to offer tools for that. And yeah, that's where I'm currently at. If you guys have any questions, please like and subscribe. And I hope you have a good day. See you later, guys.